Every morning the lion stared into the sewer, unmoving, unblinking, obsessed. At first rangers thought he was sick. But one morning the massive beast did something no one expected. He roared, then shoved the rusted grate aside with a powerful paw. What they saw silenced the forest. A tiny cub trapped deep below, barely alive, its cries muffled by sludge and shadows. The lion wasn't guarding territory, he was begging for help. Now the team had seconds to act. One wrong move and both lion and cub could vanish forever. Would the lion let them get close? Or was it already too late? The rescuers froze. One step too fast and the lion might lash out. But then he stepped back. A silent plea in his golden eyes. A brave ranger slid into the sewer, the stench choking, water rising fast. Below, the cub whimpered, trembling on a broken pipe above swirling filth. A sudden splash, the cub slipped. The ranger lunged, catching it by the scruff just in time. Above, the lion growled, pacing in panic. The cub wasn't breathing. No one spoke. The ranger screamed for the med kit. Was this just a rescue, or the start of a heartbreak they couldn't undo? "I've got no pulse," the ranger shouted, cradling the lifeless cub in trembling hands. Mud caked its tiny chest and its limbs hung limp. One of its eyes was sealed shut, the other barely open, glinting faintly in the rising sunlight. The lion roared above them, a deep, guttural sound that shook the earth and echoed through the trees. Rangers scrambled around the sewer's edge, tossing down the medical kit, ropes, and blankets. "Start compressions. Now!" barked Lena, the team's wildlife medic, as she dropped to her knees beside the sewer opening. Without hesitation, the ranger placed 2 fingers on the cub's tiny rib cage and began compressions. 1, 2, 3, 4. A desperate rhythm in a hopeless place. The lion didn't move. He stood over the sewer, head low, eyes locked on the cub. His growls softened into low, mournful grunts as if pleading. The cub was his. That much was certain now. A father? Older brother? No one knew. But he wasn't leaving. Then a miracle, a cough. The cub sputtered, hacking up a mouthful of dirty water. His chest rose, then fell. Then again. The ranger gasped. "He's breathing." Cheers broke out, but were quickly silenced by another sound. A sharp crack. The rusted sewer pipe below was shifting. Years of decay had weakened it. The section where the ranger crouched was buckling and fast. "Get out of there!" Lena screamed. The ranger didn't hesitate. Cradling the cub, he grabbed the rope and began to climb. Mud slipped under his boots. The pipe below him groaned. Then it snapped. He surged upward just in time as the entire section collapsed into darkness behind him, a rushing waterfall of sludge echoing into the abyss. 2 rangers hauled him out. He fell into the grass, gasping, holding the now whimpering cub against his chest. Its eyes fluttered open. It was alive. But they weren't out of danger yet. The lion stepped forward. The team froze. No tranquilizers had been used. They hadn't dared. But now, face to face with the king himself, they braced for anything. Yet he didn't roar, didn't attack. Instead, the lion approached slowly, deliberately, and stopped inches away from the ranger holding the cub. Everyone held their breath. Then, unbelievably, the lion lay down. His massive head lowered to the earth, his eyes locked not on the ranger but the cub. A low, soft rumble left his chest, a sound almost like a purr. The cub lifted its tiny head weakly, blinking at the lion. Then it gave a soft mew. The lion's ears perked. He nudged the cub gently with his nose. "Wait," Lena whispered, signaling the ranger. "Let them reconnect." Carefully, the ranger placed the cub down on the grass and stepped back. The lion's body tensed, but when he saw the cub struggle to stand, he leaned in. With a gentleness no one could have expected, he began grooming the cub's muddy fur, licking it clean, nuzzling its face. A collective breath escaped the team. "He wasn't trying to scare us," Lena murmured. "He was asking for help." He waited. Every day. The forest stood still. For the next hour, they observed quietly, making sure the cub remained stable. It was weak, underweight, and likely dehydrated, but alert, breathing, and warm now. The lion remained curled protectively around it, eyes tracking every movement the humans made. Not with suspicion, but with gratitude. That was when they noticed something else, a scar, fresh and raw, along the lion's side. He tried to go in himself, the ranger realized aloud. He must have hurt himself trying to get the cub out. It was more than instinct. This was devotion. Loyalty. Love. The team debated their next move. They couldn't just walk away. The cub needed antibiotics, hydration, and monitoring. But would the lion allow it? "We'll need to sedate him," someone said. "No," Lena replied, eyes locked on the pair. "We ask." With slow, deliberate movements, Lena approached the lion, syringe tucked in one hand, meat laced with mild sedatives in the other. The lion rose, body tensing, but stayed in place. She tossed the meat gently to the ground a few feet away. The lion looked at it, then at her, then back to the cub. He didn't eat, but after a long moment he lay back down and looked away. It was permission. Gently, Lena scooped the cub up, wrapping it in a warm blanket. The lion watched every second, muscles coiled. But he didn't move. The cub gave a soft whimper, then fell asleep against her chest. "We'll bring him back," she whispered. They backed away slowly, every eye on the lion. He remained lying in the grass, his tail flicking once, his eyes never leaving them. Back at the rescue center they worked through the night. The cub had a respiratory infection, several ticks, and minor hypothermia. But by morning he was sitting up, mewling for food. He refused to eat from a bottle, until one of the rangers placed a stuffed lion beside him. Then, slowly he began to nurse. The team was stunned. Against all odds the cub had made it. But the real miracle had been the lion. Day after day he'd return to that sewer. Not to hunt. Not to patrol. But to watch. To wait. To hope. He never gave up, not when it got colder, not when humans passed by, not even when the cub's cries stopped. He believed someone would help, Lena said softly. And someone did. Now the cub had a chance. But the lion was still out there. Waiting. Days turned into weeks and the cub, now named Baya, continued to thrive. The rangers monitored him closely, ensuring he gained strength and became more independent, but there was always a looming question. What about the lion? The bond between them had been undeniable. Baya had attached himself to the stuffed lion, but the true source of his comfort and security had always been his father, or perhaps his older brother, a protector. The lion had stayed vigil, a silent, steadfast guardian from a distance, keeping watch over the human camp. But, in the back of their minds, the rangers knew the lion would never leave his cub behind. He wasn't just a wild animal. He was a father figure, driven by an instinct deeper than anyone had expected. He would not abandon Baya. Lena, who had grown attached to both the lion and the cub, knew what had to be done. They couldn't keep Baya forever in captivity. As much as the team had invested in his recovery, Baya belonged to the wild, and to his father. The question was, could they bring the two together? Would the lion accept Baya back into the fold after everything that had happened? One morning, just as the sun's first rays painted the sky, the rangers received a message from their lookout team. The lion was nearby. And this time he wasn't alone. Without hesitation, Lena rallied her team, grabbing the supplies they'd need for the delicate task ahead. They packed up Baya's medical supplies, some food and extra ropes. With Baya safely nestled in one of their arms, they began their trek to the edge of the forest, where the lion had last been spotted. Each step felt heavy, a mixture of excitement and uncertainty. After what seemed like hours they reached the clearing. The air was thick with the scent of pine and earth, the distant calls of birds breaking the silence. As they moved deeper into the forest, the rustling of leaves grew louder, and then they saw him. The lion stood tall and regal, his golden mane waving in the gentle breeze, his eyes trained on them. But this time he wasn't alone. Baya was at his side. The cub was smaller now, still fragile, but his gait was more confident. His fur gleamed in the morning light, a stark contrast to the dirt and grime from his days trapped in the sewer. He wasn't afraid anymore, he was home. The lion, ever the protector, glanced at the humans warily. His muscles tensed, but this time, there was no hostility in his gaze. His eyes flicked from the cub to Lena, as though weighing the situation. Could they be trusted? Lena, understanding his caution, stepped forward slowly, keeping her movements calm and deliberate. She could feel the weight of his gaze on her, sharp and calculating. The rangers stayed back, respecting the lion's space, knowing this was a pivotal moment in both Baya's life and the lion's. For what felt like an eternity, no one moved. The only sound was the gentle wind through the trees and the soft rustle of Baya's fur as he shifted beside the lion. Then slowly the lion lowered his massive head, nuzzling Baya. The cub responded immediately, rubbing his face against the lion's side, a soft purr vibrating through him. It was clear they were family. Lena's heart swelled with emotion as she watched the reunion unfold before her eyes. The bond between them was undeniable. This was the wild, the raw, and the beautiful. In this moment, the lion had accepted Baya back into his fold, proving the resilience of family, even in the face of adversity. But this was not just a reunion, it was also a new beginning. Baya, though young and still vulnerable, had made the transition from helpless cub to resilient survivor. And the lion, despite his injuries, had proven that his love and devotion transcended everything. They had both survived against all odds, and now they would face the wild together once more. As the sun climbed higher, the team quietly retreated, knowing their work here was done. They had done what they set out to do, saved Baya, reunited him with his father, and given him a fighting chance at survival in the wild. Back at the ranger station, the story of the lion's loyalty and the cub's survival spread like wildfire. People from all over the world were moved by the extraordinary bond between the two. The tale of Baya and the lion wasn't just a story of survival, it was a story of love, sacrifice, and the unbreakable ties that bind us all, whether human or animal. The lion and Baya were seen again in the days that followed. The father and cub roamed the forests, hunting together, always side by side. It was clear the bond between them had only grown stronger, and their survival was a testament to the resilience of nature and the deep instincts that drive animals to protect those they love. Lena knew that someday Baya would grow stronger and take his place beside the lion, leading his own pack, protecting the wilderness as his father had. But for now they were a family and they would face the challenges of the wild together. As the team watched them disappear into the horizon one final time, a sense of peace settled over them. They had done their part. And now Baya and his father were where they truly belonged. Share this story if you believe every life matters. Subscribe for more incredible rescues. Would you have done the same? Comment below.